Hey, it's Dave Wyman. Welcome to Football 101. Got written down here, fight for every blade of grass. And you'll hear that a lot from professional teams, college teams, high school teams even. Everything matters, especially in the NFL. Every last little inch matters. And so I love that about this team, that they're so scrappy, that they are so stubborn. And they're really, what I always used to say to my high school football players, be stingy with the space. If you're going to turn a corner, turn it tight, and every inch matters. And so wrote down 4 different plays, because we talked about against New Orleans how 4 or 5 plays sunk them and they lost the game because of it. Look at a few of these. 59 seconds in the first quarter, the Lockett TD, and that was really counted as a 13-yard touchdown pass. Russell threw it more like 35 yards because he was on the 25. It was in the back of the end zone, but Lockett's feet were in by maybe that much. I mean, the ball was put only where it could be. Also, I want to point out that Russell Wilson was running to his left and had to kind of throw it back across his body. Another play that we noticed where it was just down to literally inches on the field. The third quarter with 3:10 left, Rams score, and Al Woods gets a tackle on the 2-point conversion, which they originally called good, and it ended up being short, and that one was probably an inch or two, as far as Al Woods just being really, like I said, stingy with the space, making a tackle and fighting for every last little inch on the field. And then, of course, Tedric Thompson's interception, which was really bizarre because nobody really knew it. And all of a sudden I looked down from the booth and see players running around and celebrating. They had seen the super slow-mo, but that ball was probably an inch and a half off the ground. T2, Tedric Thompson makes a great interception. And then, sometimes you get lucky. The missed field goal with 15 seconds left in the fourth quarter, I figure that ball probably was off 5 or 6 inches. And it just, that's the way the game goes. Kind of interesting. How do you celebrate after? In the booth where we broadcast the games, the coaches are next door. And some coaches were high-fiving and jumping up and down. And others just had a look like, whew, we dodged a bullet there. Zerline being one of the better kickers in the NFL. Guy that had a really big day, and this is kind of a question since Doug Baldwin has left, and who's going to be number 1, who's going to be number 2? How about Will Dissly? He had 4 catches last night, and in 9 games he's had 6 touchdowns. So going back to last year, but let's take a look at it. Here's Tyler Lockett's numbers: 30 catches, 379, 3 touchdowns. Clearly your number 1 receiver. Actually, DK Metcalf has more yardage than Will, but Will has more catches, 23 to 12. Obviously, a higher average for DK Metcalf. But look at Dissly here with the 4 touchdowns. So that's this year, and of course, last year he had a couple before he got hurt. So, and don't forget, this guy's coming off a patellar tendon injury. I mean, that's one of the bigger injuries that you'll see in the NFL. Really tough to rehab from. But another thing I look at is target to catch ratio. And last year it wasn't as good for him. He was targeted 14 times, had 8 catches. But this year he has just been on it. This is 88% target to catch ratio, 23 catches on 26 targets. And if you looked up some of these numbers, some of the better receivers in the league and in NFL history, Larry Fitzgerald, who made NFL history getting to number 2 last week as far as catches go, and he was 69% target to catch ratio. Doug Baldwin, always at the top of the list, 68%. So, Will Dissly has just become a go-to guy for Russell Wilson. And last night, like I said, 4 targets, 4 catches. And he's just somebody that Russell Wilson really can trust. So keep an eye on Will Dissly, who was brought in here as a blocker. And nobody really thought that he was going to be this good catching the ball. He has a great ability of twisting his body around and getting separation and getting himself in a position to catch the ball. But a lot of those, you could throw some of these in there. But one of those passes bounced off his face mask and he was still able to catch it. But last night, Seahawks get the win, and they won the battle of fighting for every blade of grass on the field.